In this video, I will be discussing how WordPress switched to JavaScript, specifically how they switched their WordPress dashboard so that it is written in JavaScript instead of PHP. One of the reasons this is really important is because WordPress powers a huge percentage of websites on the web. By one account, it is about 25% of websites on the web that are powered by WordPress. It is important to note that WordPress is not being completely rewritten in JavaScript instead of PHP. The core WordPress software will still be written in PHP for the foreseeable future. This all started when Automattic, which is the company that runs WordPress.com, acquired a company called CloudUp. And CloudUp taught Automattic how they could make WordPress.com JavaScript powered and API powered. So Automattic started the Calypso project to rewrite their WordPress dashboard in JavaScript instead of PHP, which it had been written in for the past 10 or so years. At the start of the project, the developers on the Calypso team were not experienced JavaScript developers. Their core expertise was in PHP. However, they were able to learn on the job, and by the end of the 18-month project, they were pretty advanced in JavaScript. This goes to show that if you are a new developer and you have been trained in a language like JavaScript, it doesn't mean that you can't get a job in a different language like Ruby, because a lot of the principles are transferable and you can learn a lot on the job and you can get up to speed pretty quickly. Another thing that Automattic changed during this project was that they started using pull requests with GitHub. And this was a change in their development process because prior to this, they didn't do code reviews. So how does this change impact users of WordPress? Well, the people using WordPress.com for their websites will be able to experience the new WordPress dashboard called Calypso. And they will be able to expect a more responsive and real-time experience, similar to what a lot of modern applications are looking like these days. It does not mean that the WordPress plugins are going away, because they are written in PHP. WordPress has no plans to rewrite the core of WordPress in PHP right now because there's such a huge ecosystem of PHP plugins that a lot of users rely on. How does this impact developers, especially JavaScript developers? Well, WordPress is also releasing a new WordPress RESTful API. And this will allow developers to use any language to develop applications and then use RESTful API requests to get information from WordPress or even post information to WordPress with authentication. This allows greater opportunities for JavaScript developers because they can create a JavaScript application and use the RESTful API to populate the content or publish articles to a WordPress-powered site. A practical example of this is if you had a small business client and you wanted to create a custom WordPress dashboard for that client, that was super intuitive and simple. It could have just a couple fields and a publish button. And you could write this application in JavaScript or even Angular, and then use the RESTful API to send post requests to the WordPress dashboard to save or publish the content to the database. You can learn more about this at lynda.com, where they have a new course about the WordPress REST API. Now, what does this mean for the future of WordPress and JavaScript? Well, this just adds fuel to the fire of the fastest growing ecosystem, which is the JavaScript ecosystem. According to modulescount.com, there are nearly 250,000 NPM modules as of February 2016, and there are close to 400 new modules being added each day. The Open API of WordPress will allow JavaScript developers to create new applications that are powered by the WordPress backend. And the trend of JavaScript and all the popularity is going to just increase the number of tools, the number of documentation available for JavaScript developers to help them create more valuable software. In a keynote speech, the CEO of Automattic urged developers to learn JavaScript deeply. And I think this is good advice for developers, and especially new developers.